that household that would be having a period, that scent of blood would tend to cause a momentary shapeshift.
What was the whole, what appears to be a ceremony surrounding her assassination? What was that about? The rumours that she was pregnant, the Egyptian Dodi Fayed, and the place where it all happened, which is an ancient sacrificial site to the goddess Diana. How does all that fit together in the rituals that you know about?
Okay, the crown aspect of the goddess is Hecate, and the day of Hecate is on August 13th. And what is very prevalent in this with the Illuminati and what they've done with the Druidism and other in Egypt, the Egyptian religions, is they like to mirror the numbers. And so as like, for example, with the goddess Isis, her number is 18. When you mirror it, it's 81, and that is the number of the sister of Isis, Nephthys. And Nephthys was considered the evil sister to Isis. With Hecate, what I think happened here is that she was sacrificed, and it was a very important sacrifice because 3 people died, and it was a picture of the triad of Isis, Osiris, and Horus to them. Horus being the unborn child of Dodi Fayed that Diana carried, and was 3 months old, which is another very important fact, a number that's important to them, to be 3 months old. Sacrificial babies are taken in utero at 3, 5, and 7 months. And when I heard about this was a deal that I understood now had gone down. And she had to die in that tunnel because that tunnel's the passageway for Diana, the goddess. And she died at the 13th pillar again because of Hecate. And she died on the 31st because it's the mirror image of 13. And my understanding of what I get inside of me, and because I was told by Baron Guy de Rothschild last beginning of February, when he was in this country and he was there to try and reprogram me again and impregnate me, was that he was in the tunnel that night. He had to be there because not only was it a ritual death of Diana, this was also about taking her soul, and he was taking the soul of Diana, which no one else there could do. Whoever was present there could not do it. He could do it, and he was in France.
This is the hypnotic stare you talk about.
Yes, and drawing in the breath. And he had to be there to do this ritual killing, this ritual murder.
This would mean that the ambulance team and a doctor that arrived within a minute of the crash coming the other way must have been in on this whole deal, or at least the people in charge of the ambulance team. From your experience of the kind of people involved in this Illuminati satanic network, do you think that's possible, that they could set that up?
Yes, I do. I've seen a lot of things set up that if you did not know, if you weren't in on the so-called inner circle, or know what the Illuminati can do, because they depend on people not believing they're really there, you would not, you would have a hard time believing it. That this has been such a secretive group and worked in such insidious ways to infiltrate and control. And there are so many unanswered questions they don't seem to be able to answer about Diana that keep coming up in spite of all the reports that come out, because there are people that don't believe what they're hearing.
What would have been the purpose of creating such a clear and definite ritual in the assassination of Diana? What would be the purpose of that when they could have killed her in another way?
Because it had to be done as a ritual, because they were going to take her soul. And it had to happen in the tunnel, it had to happen that way, it had to happen in that year. And this is all, there's all a timeline to all of this.
There's been many rumors that she was pregnant, but as I understand it, one of her friends says that that was not possible, because she knew that very shortly before she'd had a menstrual period. Is it possible to be pregnant and for that to still happen?
Yes, it is. This happened to me. I was impregnated with one of my own fertilized egg that was fertilized by the sperm of Pindar, and he sent Guy de Rothschild to impregnate me in this manner, and I was impregnated in October of '94. I had periods up until February when it was discovered, and they seemed normal, not light. And I then was, since I had the background of a nurse, I was and had worked with a nurse midwife delivering babies. I was, for some reason, it occurred to me to check my stomach, my abdomen, and I realized that I was pregnant, and so I ended up seeing a doctor who told me, I mean, he verified, you're pregnant. He did it with blood test, with the urine test, and ultrasound exam, and if I don't do an abortion on you tomorrow, you're going to have to go through a different type of abortion, which probably would have been a saline abortion. And I knew what I was pregnant with by that time, and so I was terrified to go through with it, and I could not go through with it, knowing what I knew, and so I had the abortion, but I had periods the whole time.
You were impregnated at the point that it happened without you having any knowledge of it?
No, I did not.
Is it possible that that happened to Diana, if she was, as the evidence that I've looked at suggests, also mind-controlled and a multiple from the early part of her life?
That is definitely more than a probability. The thing about being multiple or dissociative identity disorder is that the host person doesn't know that they are, but they have missing time, but then they have amnesia for the missing time. They don't realize they're missing time. They don't realize things are happening to them. They show up, you know, pregnant. They show up with marks on their bodies. They don't know, well, I think I must have bumped myself, and that's not actually how it happened. Or they have needle marks on their body when they've been gotten a hold of and drugged. And it's only when they start to realize something's not right and they try and make a timeline and try and account for their time, they realize there's so much they can't account for that they simply took for granted. Oh, I was out shopping, or I was at this person's house, or I was over there. Then they realize they don't have a timeline for any of these things.
Do you think that Diana's two children were Prince Charles's children?
I do not believe that William is, I've heard that he was Charles's son. I've heard about someone else, and I believe that it was neither. I believe that this child of Prince William is the son of Pindar, and she was impregnated and she did not realize that.
When you look at the ritual nature of all that, you've got Osiris, it would seem, symbolized by dirty fire. You've got Isis, symbolized by Diana. Presumably the baby, quite obviously, symbolizes Horus in Egyptian legend and ritual. Why create that in a tunnel in Paris at that time? What was it designed to do, to symbolize or whatever?
It's to symbolize, it's part of symbolizing getting the world ready to recognize the Horus that is about to come upon us in the year 2000, as the year 2000 is the age of Horus and Osiris reborn, and there's a sacrifice involved, and the sacrifice is the mother, and the sacrifice is this child, and yet it involves another child who yet lives by the same mother. And
you're talking about William?
Yes, I am talking about William.
What would have happened to Diana in your experience of the ritual, and what would have happened to the unborn child after the events in the tunnel in Paris?
That Diana left the tunnel dead. She didn't leave that tunnel alive. That ritual, she had to die in that tunnel, and they had to take her soul in that tunnel, and they had to take the soul or developing essence of the unborn child, and in the hospital it follows logically, according to what I know about what they do, that they would have taken the uterus and the fetus from Diana, that would have been taken, and as a ritual that would have been taken, and they would have removed other body parts.
And done what?
Distributed them for high Illuminati members to consume, because this is a ritual sacrifice.
Some strange things happened after that. Strange things happened all the way through it. But suddenly the decision was made that she would not be buried in the local church where she wanted to be buried, but on an island among the trees in a lake at Althorpe Park. And Earl Spencer, her brother, claims through a dream he was inspired to put 4 black swans on the lake. Therefore,